These RC planes are so massive, flying them feels less like a hobby and more like piloting a real aircraft. RC aviation has evolved into a high-tech spectacle, with giant aircraft models that blur the line between hobby flying and real aviation. And this is where everything starts to get interesting. Back in the early 2000s, RC aviation wasn't anything like what you're about to see. It was simple, almost humble. Light foam planes, basic controls, short flight times. But then technology quietly stepped in and changed everything. Lightweight materials became stronger and more durable, making it possible to build bigger frames without sacrificing control. High-capacity batteries started lasting longer, giving pilots more time in the air. Motors? They got insanely powerful. And then came the real game changer: advanced electronics. Suddenly, control systems were precise, responsive, almost surgical. What used to be a backyard hobby started feeling serious. And people noticed. Builders began pushing limits. Wingspans stretched wider, bodies grew heavier, details became sharper. These weren't just models anymore. They were flying machines built with obsession-level precision. The rise of giant-scale RC aircraft wasn't accidental. It was driven by enthusiasts who wanted more realism, more challenge, more presence in the sky. Engineers, hobbyists, and aviation fans all collided into this one space where creativity met engineering. And honestly, watching one of these giants take off? It doesn't feel like a toy. It feels like witnessing something real. Have you ever seen an RC plane so big it made you stop and stare? Because from here on, it only gets bigger. Now here's where history meets craftsmanship. The RC Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress isn't just a model. It's a flying tribute to one of World War II's most iconic bombers. And the moment it rolls onto the runway, you can feel the weight of that history. With wingspans ranging anywhere from about 1.8 meters to over 4 meters, this thing already commands attention. But what really pulls you in is the detail. 4 engines humming in sync, just like the original. Bomb bay doors that actually open. Retractable landing gear that moves with mechanical precision. It's not just built to look real, it behaves like the real thing. Some advanced versions even come with sound systems. And when those engines roar to life, mixed with simulated machine gun fire, it sends chills through the crowd. For a second, you forget you're watching a model. Flight-wise, it's smooth, stable, controlled. It doesn't rush, it cruises just like a heavy bomber should. And when multiple B-17 fly in formation, that's when it really hits differently. It's not just flying, it's storytelling in the sky. And honestly, it makes you wonder, how far can RC realism actually go? But just when you think it can't get more extreme, it absolutely does. The RCB-52 Stratofortress takes everything you just saw and scales it up in a way that almost feels ridiculous, in the best way possible. We're talking about a wingspan of around 6.7 meters. That's not a model anymore. That's a presence. And then you notice something else. 8 engines. Yes, 8. And suddenly, it clicks. This isn't just about building big. This is about engineering something incredibly complex and actually making it fly. Every detail feels intentional. Functional bomb bays, a full landing gear system that must support significant weight, The structure itself has to be perfectly balanced, or it simply won't leave the ground. And when it does take off, it's surprisingly graceful. It cruises smoothly, almost effortlessly, like it's floating on invisible rails. Some models even simulate bombing runs, adding another layer of realism that pulls the audience deeper into the experience. At RC events, this is the kind of aircraft that stops conversations. People don't just watch, they gather. Because deep down, everyone's thinking the same thing: how is that even flying? And then things take a different turn. Less military, more elegance. The RC Douglas DC-10 and MD-11 models bring commercial aviation into the spotlight. These aren't built for aggression or power. They're built for smoothness, balance, and grace. With wingspans stretching between 4.2 and 4.8 meters, they sit comfortably in the giant category. But what makes them stand out is the triple engine setup. It's unique, instantly recognizable, and surprisingly difficult to replicate accurately. And yet, these models pull it off. The flight performance is where they shine. No sudden moves, no aggressive maneuvers, just clean takeoffs, steady cruising, and soft, controlled landings. It's the kind of flying that feels professional. Then there's the detail. Airline liveries that look almost too real, lighting systems that glow during dusk flights, engine sounds that echo across the field. It's not just about flying, it's about recreating an era. The golden age of wide-body aviation was brought back to life in scaled-down form. And for experienced pilots, these are a dream to fly. But just when you start getting comfortable, the next one completely changes the game. And this is where everything peaks. The RC Boeing 747-400 built by Addy Pitts isn't just impressive, it's borderline unbelievable. The kind of project that makes you question how much dedication one person can actually have. First, the size. A wingspan of nearly 5 meters, a length of over 5.4 meters, and weighing in at around 68 kilograms, this isn't something you casually carry to the field. Then you hear about the build time. Over a decade. Let that sink in. This wasn't rushed. Every detail, every component, every inch of that aircraft was crafted with patience. And it shows. 4 turbine engines power this giant, producing not just thrust, but that unmistakable jet sound that echoes across the runway. The landing gear retracts smoothly. Navigation lights blink with precision. And the Virgin Atlantic livery? It's so detailed it almost feels like it could board passengers. But the real magic happens in the air. Takeoff is smooth, almost majestic. It doesn't leap, it lifts, just like the real 747. In flight, it's stable, controlled, and oddly calming to watch. And when it comes in for landing, it glides in with a level of realism that makes the crowd go silent. Then comes the applause. This isn't just RC flying, this is craftsmanship at its absolute peak. And honestly, if this is what's possible, where does it even go from here? And just when you think these builds are all about size, this one proves it's about capability. The RC Lockheed C-130 Hercules isn't just big, it's versatile. With a wingspan stretching between 4 and 5 meters and powered by 4 propeller engines, it carries a completely different kind of presence. It doesn't just fly, it performs. What really makes this model stand out is what it can do mid-air. Cargo doors actually open. Some versions even simulate paratrooper drops, releasing tiny payloads while flying low and steady. And when you see that happen live, it feels less like a model and more like a mission in progress. Then there's the takeoff. Unlike most large RC planes that need long runways, the C-130 can lift off in surprisingly short distances. That short takeoff and landing capability gives it a kind of rugged personality, like it's built for rough conditions, just like the real aircraft. It's this flexibility that makes it a favorite among hobbyists. Whether it's configured in military style or dressed in civilian livery, it adapts. And honestly, watching it in action makes you think, this isn't just flying, it's operational. But now, we're stepping into something on a completely different scale. The RC Airbus A380 is the kind of aircraft that makes people pause mid-conversation. Because when something this big lifts into the air, it just doesn't feel right, in the most fascinating way possible. With a wingspan of around 5.2 meters and that unmistakable dual-deck structure, this model captures the essence of the world's largest passenger aircraft almost perfectly. But what's really impressive is how it's built. Constructed using EPO foam, reinforced with carbon fiber, it manages to stay lightweight while maintaining structural strength. That balance is everything. Too heavy, it won't fly. Too light, it won't hold together. Then comes the control system. Advanced 2.4 GHz radio systems allow incredibly precise handling. And despite its size, it responds smoothly, almost gracefully. Add in LED lighting, and suddenly dusk flights turn into a full visual experience. And of course, the Emirates livery. It's detailed, clean, and instantly recognizable. When this thing taxis on the runway, it looks like it just landed from an international flight. What really stands out, though, is the balance. Size versus control. Power versus precision. Because flying something this massive isn't just about skill, it's about trust in the machine. And when it all comes together, it's unforgettable. And then, everything changes again. Because the RC Concorde doesn't rely on size alone, it relies on speed. The moment you see its long, narrow fuselage and that iconic delta wing design, you already know. This one's different. It looks fast even when it's standing still. With a wingspan of around 4 meters and powered by turbine engines, this model is built for performance. Not slow, steady cruising, but sharp, fast, controlled motion. And when it takes off, it doesn't just climb. It slices through the air. The sleek aerodynamic design allows it to move with incredible agility. Quick turns, fast passes, smooth climbs. It's all tight, controlled, and precise. It feels alive in a completely different way compared to heavier aircraft. Of course, the details are still there. Retractable landing gear. Classic airline liveries inspired by British Airways or Air France. Every inch is designed to reflect the original Concorde's legacy. But what really makes it stand out is the reaction it gets. At air shows, this is the one people lean forward for. Phones come out, conversations stop. Because speed like this, it's hard to ignore. And in a sky full of giants, the Concorde proves something unexpected. Sometimes it's not about being the biggest, it's about being the fastest. But just when you think you've seen every kind of design, this one hits completely different. The RC Avro Vulcan bomber stands out instantly. That massive delta wing shape, wide, bold, and unlike anything else in the sky, makes it impossible to miss. With a wingspan of around 5.5 meters and powered by 4 turbine engines, it carries a serious presence. But what really makes it unforgettable isn't just how it looks, it's how it sounds. That signature Vulcan howl. As the engines throttle up, there's this eerie, rising tone that cuts through the air. It's haunting, powerful, and honestly, it gives you chills the first time you hear it. In flight, it's surprisingly smooth, agile when it needs to be, but mostly controlled and steady. It doesn't rush, it dominates the sky in its own way. The Royal Air Force livery adds another layer of authenticity, tying it back to its Cold War roots. And for aviation enthusiasts, that history matters. At air shows, this is more than just a model, it's a moment. People don't just watch it fly, they feel it. And by now, one thing's clear. These aren't just RC planes anymore, they're experiences.
This flies on 6S.
And now, this is where things stop feeling like RC entirely. The RC Antonov AN225. MRIA isn't just big, it's overwhelming. A replica of the heaviest aircraft ever built, this model carries that same jaw-dropping presence into the RC world. Built at a 1:6 scale, it stretches nearly 5.8 meters in wingspan and about 5.3 meters in length. And then you hear the weight, around 93.5 kilograms. And it hits you. This isn't something you casually fly. This is something you prepare for. And here's where it gets even crazier. The engine setup combines turbine engines with EDF units, producing a massive amount of thrust. It needs that power because lifting something this heavy into the sky is no small task. But the real engineering masterpiece? The landing gear. 32 wheels. Yeah, you heard that right. That entire system has to work flawlessly just to support the aircraft during taxi, takeoff, and landing. It's complex, precise, and honestly a build challenge on its own. And yet, when it takes off, it's almost surreal. It doesn't struggle. It doesn't fight the air. It lifts smoothly, climbs steadily, and then settles into a stable cruise like it belongs up there. Watching it fly feels different. It's not just impressive, it's emotional. Because you're not just seeing a model, you're seeing a tribute, a flying homage to one of the greatest achievements in aerospace engineering. And in that moment, you realize, this isn't about RC anymore, this is about legacy.
Da kann man wirklich sagen, es ist wirklich eine Freude, jedes Jahr die beiden zu sehen und es wird immer noch exakter. Ja? Man sagt schon, vor 4 Jahren habe ich gesagt, boah, da gehen wir mehr. Und jetzt kommen sie heute und
But just when everything feels massive and overwhelming, this one brings it back in a completely different way. The RC Fokker Doctor 1. Triplane might be the smallest among these giants, with a wingspan of around 1 to 2 meters. But don't let the size fool you. This one has personality. Built primarily from balsa wood, it carries that classic handcrafted feel. It's lighter, simpler, but still incredibly detailed. And that triple wing design? Instantly recognizable. It's iconic. Powered by a compact motor system and typically running on LiPo batteries, it doesn't rely on brute force. Instead, it thrives on agility, and when it's in the air, it dances. Quick turns, sharp climbs, tight aerobatic maneuvers, it moves in a way that feels alive, almost playful, but still precise. And then there's the history. This aircraft is tied to the legendary Red Baron, one of the most famous fighter pilots of World War I. So even though it's smaller, it carries a huge historical weight. For many builders, this is where the journey begins. It's approachable, buildable, and still incredibly rewarding to fly. And in a lineup of giants, it reminds you that sometimes it's not about size, it's about character. From historic warbirds to massive airliners, giant RC planes redefine what model aviation can achieve. These machines demand skill, precision, and dedication, often rivaling real aircraft operation. So, what's your take on these flying giants? Drop it below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.